All right, guys, you have 3 pieces of paper in front of you. You should have a tall black piece of paper. Next to it, you have a horizontal blue paper. Below the blue paper, you have your purple paper. This is going to be our tree, mountains, and town. We're going to use chalk pastel on these, so you're going to have to be very careful not to make a big mess all over yourself, your artwork, and the table. First, I'm going to show you how to sketch out your tree. So looking at the painting done by Vincent van Gogh, you can tell that the tree starts out wider at the bottom and gets more narrow at the top. So I'm going to start out, might not be able to see this very well. I'm going to start out by adding some branches. Kind of looks like a big flame. I'm going to go over this with a silver Sharpie so that way you can see it, or a gold Sharpie so that way you can see it. Can I help you? That's much better. If your tree looks a little different, that's okay. There we go. There's mine. Now I'm going to make my line for my mountain tops. Looking at the lines that Vincent van Gogh used, they're not just like up and down peaks like a letter M, they're kind of rolling. I'll use a Sharpie so you can see mine. You're using a pencil. You can decide how you want your line to be, but it is a wavy line. Now, my town, I need for my town to be a lower line than this one. So the way I'm going to make the line for my town is going to be straight lines with angles. Kind of looks like, you know, like a stock market graph. And then in the middle over here is a pointy one. Okay. That's how you're going to draw your lines out. Then when you start getting the chalk that I'm going to pass out in just a minute, you're very careful when you're holding these not to drop them because then they break. If that does happen, it's okay. You don't throw it away, you just put it back in the box, the other half that you're not using. Now, I should not ever see this. This is chalk laying on a table. I shouldn't ever see that. Your chalk is always in your hand, or you put it back in the box where it came from. You don't put it in the box across from you unless that's where you got it from. It goes back in the box that it came from. That's its home. The chalk goes back in its home. So for my tree, I'm going to make my short little lines just like when we were painting. We're going to use chalk pastels like that. So I'm making my short little lines. And I'll pass out your chalk in just a moment, but I want you to watch how I'm doing this first. We're not coloring it in or shading it in. Does anybody remember what this type of tree was called? Cypress tree, very good. Not a sinus tree, a cypress tree. Okay, so there's my tree. And now my mountains, now I want them to be a little bit darker. And Vincent van Gogh used a lot of dark blue in his mountains. Make your marks mean something. So if the mountain goes up, make your marks go like that. Darker. I might even go back and add some black in there to make it even darker in some spots. And really, guys, since my moon is on this side, and that's where all the light's coming from, really my darker side should be the one that's away from the moon. So I'm going to make this side of my mountain darker than this side. This side's going to be darker than this side. And look, my hands are messy, so be careful. Don't touch your face right now. Try to resist doing that. We'll do a little bit of yellow here then. And let's see, I'm also going to add, there's a few, like an area in his painting where he's got these like, looks like a field. I'm going to add some green in there. You will get a baby wipe in a minute, or not in a minute, when it's time to clean up, so that way you can get the chalk off of them. Then after you leave, I'm going to spray these with hairspray. That way the chalk doesn't get on everything. Okay, so and then to do the town, let me show you this. I'm going to use some white to begin with. Looking at his little houses, I see a lot of different triangles. Maybe add some windows. Okay, and then you could have some little yellow lights for windows. You could add, I think I see some browns and blues. And then next week we'll cut these out, unless we end up having time today. I don't think we will though. All right, you kind of get the idea.